Today we have the latest on the cyber attack on America's oil infrastructure, how it's impacting a crude company in Texas. And cryptocurrency Ethereum reaches a record high today, breaking $4,000 for the first time. It's been up for 3 straight days. And a California man allegedly cheated the government and received $5 million in PPP loans. The Justice Department says federal agencies Ferrari, Bentley, and Lamborghini cars that he allegedly bought with the money. And much more, coming up on NTD Business. Good evening, great to have you with us. The second biggest cryptocurrency in the world, Ethereum, broke $4,000 for the first time today. It's up 3 straight days in a row. Many investors expect the Ethereum blockchain to play a big role in decentralized finance, or DeFi. These are platforms that facilitate crypto-denominated banking outside the traditional banking system. But some analysts say Ethereum's increasing valuation isn't supported by data of how widely it's used. JP Morgan analysts say factors such as the number of active digital addresses in the network would be more consistent with a price of around $1,000. Bitcoin, the largest cryptocurrency in the world, rose to a 3-week high above $59,000 today, before falling back a little. And the largest fuel pipeline in America is trying to get up and running again after a cyber attack forced it to shut down. Oil deliveries to the southern and eastern United States will be affected if the shutdown lasts too long. NTD's Jasmina Davis has the details.
A cyber attack crippling the U.S.'s largest fuel pipeline Friday, forcing it to shut down for who knows how long. Colonial Pipeline is now working on a plan to restart.
The group that's behind this is known as DarkSide. They specifically target large corporations, very large corporations. They do a lot of reconnaissance and they do a lot of homework before they attack their targets.
DarkSide is a criminal group believed to operate from a Russian-speaking country. On its website, found only on the dark web, it even lists organizations it refuses to target, such as medicine, funeral services, education, etc., based on its principles. The crime they committed against Colonial was a ransomware attack.
Everything on your network is encrypted and it can't be opened. It's garbled into text that nobody can understand.
And most likely only DarkSide can decrypt it. Colonial connects Gulf Coast refineries to the south and east, transporting 2.5 million barrels of fuel a day. Just this afternoon, they stated they hope operations can resume by the end of this week.
There's absolutely no way to protect yourself from every possible data breach scenario, but we'll see as the information comes out as far as how they got breached and what they might have been doing differently.
Colonial says it's dedicating vast resources to restoring pipeline operations quickly and safely. Pipeline segments are being brought back one by one. Jasmina Davis, NTD News.
I got the latest on the hack from oil industry expert and former Texas state representative Jason Isaac. He's now the director of think tank Life Powered.
Well, on this Colonial Pipeline shutdown that you're seeing, it's 45% of America's gas supply on the eastern United States from Florida to New York. And some of that pipeline originates in Texas. And I've just found out that the Baytown refinery, which is the largest refinery in the United States, its crude units have shut down. That refinery predominantly produces diesel fuel, which is used for transportation, which is going to be necessary to get fuel to the eastern United States now that this pipeline is shut down. And it could be before the end of the week, before it's back up and operational. So I would expect gas prices, diesel prices to climb over the next couple of days. I'm hearing from reports from groups in Washington, D.C., advising people to fuel up their vehicles tonight and really cut travel down as much as possible to consume fuel. Because prices are going to spike here over this week.
And I don't want to get too technical, but do we have any idea what part of the infrastructure has been compromised?
No, but there have been warnings about the electrical infrastructure and electric utilities. I know in 2018, there was a Russian group, which just like this group, I believe called DarkSide is the one that's responsible from Russia for this cyber attack. In 2018, there were concerns that they were already in the electric utilities and had compromised electric utilities. We found out here in Texas how volatile those electric utilities are in February, with over 110 people dying, freezing to death because of the blackouts that we experienced. And a lot of the pipelines in Texas have moved from gas-fired compressors to move products in pipelines to being on the electric grid and using electricity to run those compressors to move pipeline products. So when we have attacks on our electric grid, it affects all of our infrastructure. And we saw that here firsthand in Texas. And now it's likely that we're seeing that with the Colonial Pipeline, where this Russian ransomware group, DarkSide, is attacking Colonial Pipeline, which is having reverberations and repercussions on other businesses throughout the United States.
Incredible. And it seems like they're just trying to get around the problem. It doesn't look like they're interested in negotiating with these people, are they?
No, it doesn't appear that that's the case. I'm sure this is a pretty expensive ransomware attack, and hopefully they've got good security measures where they can just completely reset their system, wipe out the ransomware. But from what I'm hearing, every indication is this is going to be through the end of the week before it's resolved.
Say hypothetically it is resolved by the end of the week, are we looking, will there be damage? Will there be knock-on effects for Americans, higher prices like you mentioned, or what do you think?
Yeah, when you think about the transportation sector, just the shutdown of the Baytown refinery and the amount of diesel that it produces, that diesel fuel everything that we touch in our daily lives, everything that you're wearing, everything that you're going to consume today has at one point in time been on a truck. And you increase the cost of that truck, then you're increasing the cost of everything up and down the supply chain. And so we need to be mindful of that. So this is going to have significant cost repercussions and this Whipple wave effect down to every consumer at every level here in the United States.
You mentioned 2018 as well. Have you seen an incident like this before? Have we seen this before?
Yes. In 2018, we saw that a Russian group had accessed and compromised utility infrastructure, electric infrastructure. I don't know if any damage was done, but there were concerns about nearly 200 vulnerabilities that were addressed in Department of Homeland Security reports. And hopefully those were addressed, but clearly this was not addressed with Colonial Pipeline, and now you're having this massive shutdown.
Jason Isaac, Life Powered. And 40 state attorneys general don't want to see an Instagram specifically for young children. They want Facebook to cancel its plans. The AG says social media can be detrimental to the health and well-being of children. They also say Facebook has historically failed to protect the welfare of children on its platforms. Facebook says the company wouldn't show ads on the new platform. It also says it will consult with experts in child development, child safety, and mental health, along with privacy advocates. The AG say Facebook is not responding to a need for a social media platform aimed at children. They're simply creating one. And Amazon says it blocked 10 billion suspected counterfeit listings last year and has more than 10,000 people working on it. NTD's Evelyn Lee has the details.
Amazon said Monday that it blocked more than 10 billion suspected fraudulent listings last year. That number is up almost 70% from 2019. During the pandemic, the number of counterfeit listings rose. Amazon says scammers on the site tried to take advantage of increasing numbers of online shoppers. The online giant has been wrestling with counterfeits for years, but since 2019, it has warned investors that the sale of phony goods poses a risk to the company and its image. At the same time, lawmakers from both sides are looking at ways to reduce counterfeits online as well. A reintroduced bill called the Informed Consumers Act would require third-party sellers to be verified and to disclose their name and address to shoppers. It was introduced last year but wasn't voted on. Amazon and smaller online stores oppose the bill. They're worried it could discourage people from starting a small business and selling online. But groups that represent big box physical retailers such as Home Depot and Lowe's support it because they say it levels the playing field. Amazon said it spent more than $700 million last year on its anti-counterfeiting efforts and has 10,000 people working on it. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
Wall Street closed lower today, weighed down by several big tech companies. The Dow fell 35 points, 0.1%. S&P 500 lost 44 points, 1.04%. The Nasdaq dropped 350 points, over 2.5% today. Inflation fears looks like they're driving investors away from growth stocks in favor of cyclicals. They stand to benefit most as the economy reopens. Investors will have the latest indicator on inflation Wednesday when the Labor Department releases its latest CPI number. Treasury yields today remain pretty much stable though. 10-year Treasury yield rose to 1.6%. One of America's biggest food producers, Tyson Foods, is expecting rising costs will hit its profits this year, but the company is still raising its full-year revenue forecast on higher meat prices and improving demand from restaurants. Its CEO says the company is seeing substantial price inflation across its supply chain. The company says it will indeed pass those increased costs on to customers. Higher costs for labor, transportation, and raw materials like grain and packaging are squeezing a range of companies. Tyson paid $135 million more for feed ingredients in the second quarter, as corn and soybean prices soared on supply concerns. And Panasonic expects operating profit to jump by almost a third this business year as economies worldwide rebound from lockdowns. Kira Lee reports.
Betting on rebounding economies around the world, Panasonic expects operating profit to jump by almost a third this business year. On Monday, the Japanese maker of items from bicycles to hairdryers forecast operating profit to rise to $3 billion. Panasonic is looking to tap growing demand for electric car batteries through its decade-old partnership with Tesla. A source told Reuters that this business year, the firm plans to begin a test line in Japan to make a new type of cell for Tesla. The carmaker says the format will halve battery costs and help ramp up production 100-fold by 2030. Panasonic is also investing heavily in new production chain management services. Companies are seeking to strengthen supply chains in the wake of disruptions during the global health crisis. Last month, Panasonic said it would acquire the share of US supply chain software company Blue Yonder that it does not already own. The $7.1 billion deal will be its biggest in a decade. For the quarter to the end of March, the Japanese conglomerate posted a fourth quarter operating profit of $292 million, down 40% from a year ago. Its shares closed up over 1.5%.
And Germany's Biontech and US partner Pfizer have committed to delivering 1.8 billion doses of the CCP virus vaccine this year, and capacity could exceed 3 billion in 2022. Julian Satterthwaite reports.
Biontech said Monday that it and US partner Pfizer have committed to delivering 1.8 billion doses of their COVID-19 vaccine this year. That is up from an earlier target of 1.4 billion announced in March. And the numbers will go even higher in 2022. The duo say they will have capacity for more than 3 billion doses that year. They have been spared the production troubles that have dogged rival shots, such as those made by AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson. Monday's numbers come as Biontech announced first quarter results. It saw revenues soar to just over €2 billion, or about $2.5 billion. Overall, it expects vaccine sales revenue to hit more than $15 billion this year. Profits too have zoomed higher.
Biontech also weighed in on whether drug companies should be forced to waive their patents so anyone can manufacture the vaccines. The Biden administration is looking at ways to make that happen. Biontech says there's no need though, because manufacturers will be able to produce enough shots for the whole world over the coming year. EU leaders are also skeptical about the proposal. Some say the US should just export the vaccines like many European countries have done. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the details.
European leaders are raising doubts over the United States' proposal to waive intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines. Merkel says waiving IP rights could jeopardize the quality of the shots. Currently, the US is following legislation that vaccines will only be exported when enough have been created to inoculate the country. The UK doesn't export either. Merkel, French President Emmanuel Macron, and the EU's executive arm, the European Commission, say the US should lift its export ban. Macron says he calls very clearly on the US to end export bans not only on vaccines, but on ingredients in those vaccines. He supports the lifting of IP rights in a limited way. The Financial Times reports an unnamed official saying that access to patents is not the same as acquiring the knowledge to make a vaccine. The official added that you also need the technical know-how to make the vaccines. About 80 to 100 patents are involved in the creation of an mRNA vaccine. Spain, India and South Africa are in support of waiving the IP rights. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
And a California man stands accused of fraudulently obtaining around $5 million in pandemic relief loans and using the money on lavish vacations and luxury cars. NTD's Colin Fredrickson reports.
The Justice Department says that Mustafa Kadiri of Orange County submitted false loan applications under the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. The program offered hundreds of billions of dollars in forgivable loans to help small businesses weather the pandemic recession. But prosecutors said Kadiri submitted fraudulent loan applications on behalf of 4 companies that are currently not in operation. The false information included altered bank account records and using someone else's name, signature, and social security number on a loan application. Banks relied on this false information to transfer around $5 million to accounts that the suspect controlled. Kadiri allegedly used some of the money to buy Ferrari, Bentley, and Lamborghini sports cars. He was arrested Friday and faces multiple charges, including bank fraud, aggravated identity theft, and money laundering. Another New York man was charged in early May for PPP fraud of nearly $4 million. He allegedly placed more than $3 million in losing stock trades, even though he's certified he would use the money only for business purposes. The Department of Justice has prosecuted more than 70 criminal cases, seizing more than $65 million in cash proceeds from fraudulent PPP loan funds. Colin Fredrickson, NTD News.
And apparently Alibaba founder Jack Ma made a rare visit to the company's headquarters recently. It was for an annual staff and family event. A photograph taken by an employee at the event and viewed by Reuters seems to show Ma riding in an open-air campus shuttle bus with a number of Alibaba executives. He had disappeared after he gave a speech in October in Shanghai criticizing China's financial regulators. Chinese authorities then put Alibaba through a regulatory clampdown, with Ma's whereabouts a mystery. After 3 months, Ma surfaced in January in a video conference, but he hasn't reappeared since then until this photograph. Still to come. Do you still have any airline credit from cancelled flights during the pandemic? Now some lawmakers think airlines should refund you that money instead. And Major League Baseball returns for a full season. Fans in San Diego cheer on the parade Padres as California and other states ease pandemic restrictions. And more after this short break.
In uncertain times, people rush to buy physical gold and silver. It's strong, solid, dependable. Now is the time to buy from the trusted source, Westminster Mint. With 20 years experience, an A+ BBB rating, and our unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee, Westminster Mint is America's dealer. The best value in gold coins today is this newly released 2021 $50 American Gold Eagle coin, certified a perfect 70 by the world's largest rating service, NGC. At 1 full ounce of pure gold, this 2021 Gold Eagle is the biggest and most beautiful coin struck for circulation. Get yours now while you can at our exclusive low price. Call right now and get the Gold Eagle's perfect companion, the 2021 Silver Eagle, absolutely free with your purchase. With free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee, Westminster Mint is America's dealer. Hurry for your early release 2021 American Gold Eagle and free Silver Eagle before they're gone. Call now.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Ford is recalling over 660,000 Explorer Sport utility vehicles at the request of U.S. regulators. It's because some retention pins could get loose and roof rail covers could detach from the vehicles. The recall covers select models from 2016 to 2019, but Ford says it's not aware of any accidents or injuries related to the condition. But the company will start notifying customers at the end of June. Dealers will then install push pins and replace any damaged rail clips and roof rail covers. The U.S. is investigating what could be a dangerous issue in more than 1 million Honda vehicles. They're looking into reports of a steering problem in Honda Accords. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the issue could cause a car to veer out of its lane. The issue involves about 1.1 million Accords from model years 2013 to 2015. The federal agency and Honda have received reports of over 100 incidents, 2 of them involving crashes and injuries. No deaths have been reported, though. At this point, it's only an investigation. A recall hasn't yet been issued. And do you still have credit with an airline for a flight you had scheduled before the pandemic? Well, 2 lawmakers think airlines should refund you the money. 2 Democratic senators are sending a letter to airlines asking them to issue refunds to people who want them. Airlines are required to issue refunds when they cancel flights, but when passengers cancel the reservations, airlines usually issue credits instead. Some airlines have extended the expiration dates for those credits, but others have expiration dates coming soon. The senators say the very least airlines can do is to drop expiration dates from the credits. And though the federal government deregulated air travel decades ago, the senators point out that taxpayers have spent more than $50 billion bailing out the industry over the past year. Major League Baseball is showing some signs of an economic recovery, and it's after a year on the sidelines. But the revival has been speedy as some have hoped. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the story.
Saturday night in downtown San Diego, J Street near Petco Park Stadium was humming. Padres fans packed the bars and restaurants after a year stuck inside.
I think a lot of bars and restaurants were severely impacted by the shutdowns. And now that those that have fortunately survived are able to take advantage that they're still here and open their doors to people willing to spend money.
The scene was festive, but it highlighted some of the limits of the economy's recovery. The Padres have been selling out almost every game since Major League Baseball's reopening a month ago, but there's an attendance cap of around 15,000, roughly a third of stadium capacity. The surrounding restaurants remain limited to 50% capacity in California for at least another month. Opening day with over 160 games on tap was a milestone for the nation's reopening. Texas and Florida have repealed all pandemic restrictions. New York is allowing restaurants to reopen at full capacity on May 19th, and California plans to lift most remaining restrictions on June 15th.
It was like a ghost town. This same time last year was depressing, and I felt bad that all the businesses took such a hard hit. But now that everything's opened up, San Diego's thriving, and we encourage everybody to come out, support the community, support the city.
Yet some are still hesitant, and that lack of confidence may slow economic recovery. The 30 MLB stadiums are selling an average of just under 75% of available seats at the allowed capacity. That's compared to an average attendance of 67% at fully open stadiums before the pandemic. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
As the latest business updates for today, you can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't miss out on important news. Our videos are being deleted. So if you don't want to be cut off from honest news, take a moment to sign up for our newsletter at newsletter.ntd.com so you don't lose access to NTD. Go to newsletter.ntd.com to sign up for our evening newsletter.